What's up, friends? Zach here. Hi. so, I am considering starting a podcast. I just love the fact that I can just sit here and talk to you, my friends and family, just about anything business related or life updates, whatever the case may be. And I love the fact that there is almost no editing involved in these until I get guests and get more on camera angles. But it just kind of involves me recording audio, recording video, syncing them together, and then getting them out to you. Plug me into your car for the car ride, or if you're working, put your headphones in and enjoy and listen along. So today I'm talking about I did a thing recently. I'm sure if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you're aware that I recently went skydiving. I know. Oh my gosh, what? Yes, I went skydiving. Yes. It was so much fun. It was probably one of the coolest things I'll do. Definitely up on the list. Skydiving is one of those things that most people fear. Most people will never experience it, in fact. But I knew I had to be one of those people that experienced it. Um, I went up to Skydive Tecumseh in Tecumseh, Michigan. From Toledo, it's probably about an hour or so away. It's the only location within an hour, 2 hour radius that actually offers skydiving, to my knowledge. It's the most popular place to go. Most people around here that go skydiving go to Skydive Tecumseh, and I highly recommend it. It's an awesome place. Um, but yeah, so this whole experience kind of starts off back when I was in high school. At Whitmer High School, there was a World War II elective class, and I really had high respect for this teacher because he tried his best to get the students out of the classroom and into real life scenarios to really teach them these history lessons. And um, he took them skydiving to actually teach them about paratroopers in World War II. And it was the coolest thing. Um, I went there to film, I didn't actually jump. Um, so a friend of mine locally, he's a local aviator. He flies hot air balloons, planes, and he organized the Glass City balloon race. Um, he made a post recently asking if anyone would like to go skydiving on July 26th. He wanted to get a group together and go skydiving. And these were also like mostly like all like wedding vendors. Like I'm a wedding videographer. Um, he owns a bartending business, and then there was a wedding coordinator that went with us as well. Um, so this is a perfect opportunity to go with some friends and just have a good time. So I was terrified. Everyone's terrified. Skydiving has a sort of a stereotype, I guess, for lack of a better word, for being terrifying and scary, and one of those things you have to do. And right off the bat, I'll tell you the scariest part is the chunk of time from when you sign up to go skydiving to um, being in the plane. Other than that, totally cool, totally awesome. So I booked a ticket, everything, and skydiving. It's just to jump. It's about $260-ish. If you want to add photo or video on there, I think it's an extra like $100, $200 maybe. So it's a little pricey depending on the size of your pocket. But it's one of those things you just have to do. You just gotta do it. Um, so yeah, so like I'm terrified, and also just to let you know, if you follow me on Facebook and stuff, you may know that I have bad anxiety. I've dealt with anxiety problems my entire life, and it didn't help me in this case, but it did make it a little more interesting, a little more enjoyable in the end. But I was scared for sure, and it's the thing that kills you is the anticipation of like going to skydiving. So it's getting in your car, driving up there when you're just thinking about what you're doing the entire time, and it kind of messes with you a little bit. You get there, you sign in, you register, you sign a few papers, and then from there it's kind of a waiting game until they call you, and then they'll call you in and they get your harness on you, and And by the way, just to make sure that everyone's clear on this, because I feel like when people think of skydiving, they don't think of this. You don't go skydiving alone. um, I forgot my I have a tandem certificate in my house, but you actually go what's called tandem, which means that you will have a professional jumper strapped to your back. Um, because there's no way in this world that you were going skydiving alone for the first time. There's no way you're jumping out of that plane by yourself. There's a lot of training involved. Um, and these people who jump, they do this for a living. They've trained for hours and hours and hours. It even took thousands of hours for them just to jump solo. So, an interesting thing that we learned when we were there was like people are constantly jumping on the plane, constantly jumping. Um, if the weather was nice, the weather was gorgeous that day, gorgeous. And I think it was possibly one of my jumpers that actually jumped 50 times that day. 50. Can you imagine that jumping 50 times just that day? So imagine how much they do this for a living. So that's why skydiving is so safe. That's why um, I've been into aviation my whole entire life. I'm not a pilot or anything. That's a whole nother story. Um, but I am going to be piloting something eventually. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize about aviators and pilots is that they have a ton of training. Years, hours of training. And actually, the funny thing is that there are not too many, there are very little pilots that shouldn't be pilots. But the amount of people that have driver's license that shouldn't have driver's license is just terrifying. Um, and this whole year for me has been filled with risks. It started off actually the past couple of years. Um, it started off with me giving up a full-time job with benefits to be a freelance filmmaker, which I do not regret at all. But that was a risk. Moving down here with BG with my girlfriend, that was a risk. So I've just taken a lot of risks. So, I guess you just kind of have to live life and take risks. You just got to do it. Um, but what's kind of what is really funny to me though is learning about all these risks. Is risks people are willing to take, risks people aren't willing to take. Like for example, um, most people will not fly in a plane or go skydiving, and when you're flying, the plane is being flown by somebody who devoted their life to be in that seat flying that jet. They didn't just take a test and boom, they were done. No. They it took them probably around 4 years just to get into a small airplane, at least. And then from there they had to keep on getting checked off to be in an airliner. But what's interesting is that like we take a lot of risks, but we also don't take a lot of risks. But the fact that people are blindly comfortable with getting in a car and driving somewhere and being around other drivers that either have bad driving habits or shouldn't have a driver's license in the first place, but was just given one for some reason. Because I'll tell you what, when I got my driver's license, the driving portion of the test was super easy. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, they're letting people in cars after that? What? But that's a whole nother story. So, risks for you. But yeah, so I got strapped in and everything, and your instructor will be there and he'll talk you through the whole process. And he'll say, okay, like, we're gonna sit there, and then when we get up to the window, I need you to crouch because I was tall. I need you to crouch down and go to that step that has the stripes on it, and I need you to hold your harness as low as you can because there's something right here that if an emergency occurs, then that is going to be a backup of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what, But he said, okay, like, put your arm. I'm gonna need you to put your arms right here. And they basically, one big reason they do that is because if your hands are free, what are you gonna do? You're gonna try and not jump. You're gonna have your hands up on the door, and and they don't want that. So they just tell you to put your hands right here. And then they say, okay, when we jump, I need you to, basically be a banana. Have your hands out and your legs back. He said, if you can kick me in the butt, that's perfect. Um, and so they're talking you through all this, and of course your anxiety is raising and raising and raising. Um, and then you get set in the harness and stuff, and I was kind of surprised because and also the plane. Um, the plane, oh my gosh, that thing's a turboprop. It's got two props on it. Skydive Tecumseh is a grass field, which I have never taken off in before. And they they put the throttle into full, and they have the brake on, and they release the brake, and oh my gosh, do you go? It's like everyone was calling it the rocket because of how like intense like the takeoff is. It's fast, and like it's like a rocket. Um, and so you're kind of just looking out the window and just enjoying the flight. But then you start getting higher and higher and higher and higher, and you are trying to get it in your head that you are going to be jumping out of this plane. You're not going to land with it. When it lands, you're not going to be in that seat. You're going to be in the air when it lands. Fun fact. Due to some sort of security procedure, um, the plane that you jump out of has to make it down to the ground as quickly as possible before you do. So that's kind of interesting when I learned that. And it's interesting because so we jumped from 14,000 feet. You can jump from 9,000 feet, 14,000 feet, or 18,000 feet. We jumped from 14,000 feet. I was actually, I went by myself, like me and an instructor and no one else. Um, and but I remember thinking to myself, like I was taking my deep breaths because I was nervous. And I was just like, okay, like I'm jumping on this plane. I've flown in helicopters. I've flown helicopters. I've flown in fixed wing. I've flown jets. I've flown a hot air balloon, but it was anchored to the ground. Um, but I've never jumped out of one before. So I'm just trying to get in my head, and I'm preparing myself to commit to jump out of this plane. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you jump out of this plane, you know, don't you back out now. You jump out of this plane. Once they open that door, you walk up there and you jump out of it, and it's gonna be the best experience of your life. Um, so they open the door, and then all the nice cool air comes in from 14,000 feet above. Um, and we scoot up there and stuff and get right to the and basically my jumper behind me is really walking for us. I don't think I was doing a whole lot to help us walk, but you're just looking down and you see how high you are, but you're committed to jumping. You're jumping. And then the camera guy is out there if you get a camera guy, and I never saw him. I was so focused on looking straight down that I didn't even see him. So you jump, and the first second of the jump is a little scary. But here's the interesting part is when you're in free fall, like all fear just you basically leave fear in the plane. All fear is just gone and you are just loving it. You're enjoying it. You have your hands out like this and the wind is hitting you and you're just looking and it's just I can't even describe it to you. It's the coolest thing. And you're having a great time and your camera guy is flying around circling around you and stuff um I remember I was doing that they tell you to express it. They say have fun with it when I'm flying around you. This is the camera guy. When I'm flying around you, have fun. Give me a thumbs up, whatever. Flip me off. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do and just have fun with it. And I was giving thumbs up. I was doing this. I was doing this or whatever, just showing them that I was having a good time. That I was no longer afraid. And it was the coolest thing. And just like the wind hitting you and you're just looking down, looking all around because you're not used to being suspended in the air like that. with nothing, like no canopy or anything, not inside an airplane. It's just you. Um, and then the camera guy, he circles around right in front of me, and he does this, and that's how I knew that we're gonna pull the parachute. And the parachute, um, is that part's a little bit intense. I'm not gonna lie. It's basically, so, depending on your weight, um, we probably dropped about 120 miles an hour, but you don't notice it. And this is for my friends out there that don't like fast things. Rachel, I'm talking to you. And because what's interesting is you're falling at about 120 miles an hour, but there's nothing up there to give you reference of how fast you're falling. There's clouds, but if it's a clear day, you have nothing. Like, you'll see the ground slowly creep up to you, but other than that, you don't realize that you're going that fast. You just feel the rush of the wind hitting you. But we pull a parachute. The parachute's a little intense because of course you're falling at 120 miles an hour. And when he pulls it, obviously, the parachute comes out and it unfolds, and it's obviously breaking your fall. So it's a little bit intense, and I wasn't ready for that, but it was kind of interesting. And then, so you get 1 minute of free fall. You're free falling for 1 minute. They pull the parachute, and then it takes about 5 or so minutes to get down to the ground. But when you're under that parachute, you're just looking around, and it is amazing. Like, you're just looking around. You're up there a couple thousand feet, and you're just looking around and just taking the view. And I was trying not to think about the fact that all that was holding me up was a parachute, and I'm harnessed to this guy behind me. But I basically just let go of any fear of anything happening, and I just enjoyed it. It was so peaceful up there, honestly. Because you have no choice. You have no choice but to trust everything that's going on right now. And you just kind of let go of all those fears and enjoy yourself up there. You just kind of enjoy it. It's such a blissful and peaceful moment. The one thing that I was not quite ready for was when they steer the parachute. He'll pull on either side and steer you down, and they do a certain maneuver to get you to lose altitude quicker. And that part was a little bit tough on me. It kind of got me in the stomach a little bit. It was fun, but it was just like, I wasn't ready for it. If you do roller coasters and stuff like that, you might be a little more ready for that. I wasn't. I don't really do roller coasters. So that was a little bit something that I wasn't used to, and I thought I was gonna throw up there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to tell this guy to throw up, and then he's gonna have to like steer us in a certain direction so that it doesn't hit him. But yeah, we just kind of kept on going, and honestly, like, a lot of these turns, you get a little bit of G-forces. Like, you can feel the blood in your head start to rush down, and it's like G-forces, and then your harness gets tighter. Like, they tie it around like your groin area, and then also on the side and up here. And I actually got bruises from them. I don't know if I still have them. You probably want to see them though. But I actually had bruises because of how secure it was, and because of like the turns and like the pressure that it put on me, which obviously it has to, because that's how you stay safe. That's how, so obviously it has to be tight to keep you safe and keep you secure in there. But yeah, so we're steering down, and then finally we come down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. And um, they come up with the camera and they ask you like, how was it? I'm like, that was awesome. Like, and he asked if I would do it again. In the moment, I'm thinking, I don't think I can do that again. I think once was enough, and I wasn't feeling too well. And remember earlier in this podcast, I talked about my anxiety issues. They're coming now. So I said I think so. That was a good time, but in my head I'm thinking, I don't think I would do that again. I think once is enough for me. And I walked back into the place, and I am exhausted. I don't know why, but I'm exhausted, and I'm sweating profusively, and I don't know why. But I am just feeling awful, and I was actually a little bit nauseous. And I was nauseous because all those turns they do, and when you come down, and they kind of get your stomach a little bit. But also, all the anxiety I felt this entire week leading up to this is finally catching up to me. So I felt awful. There was things I wanted to buy a T-shirt. I wanted to do all this stuff, but I didn't want to do. All I wanted to do was get home and go and hop in bed. But I'm sitting there. They have a little waiting area with couches, and I'm sitting there, and I don't feel good, and like I think I might get sick. So I'm like, okay, outside is right out here, but there's people out there. My whole group is out there, and if I throw up in front of them, that's embarrassing. And the bathroom is a walk all the way across the building. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I tell people I'm just going to go to the bathroom. So I just stuck in the bathroom a little bit, spent some time in there, sprayed some cold water on my face, and I was fine. I didn't get sick, so I'm like, all right, whatever. So I come out and like talk to everyone a little bit, and everyone leaves, and we were going to stop at my mom's afterwards, so we just left. And I get to the car, and then finally I get sick. And again, it was from anxiety, and it was from like all the little spins we did on the way down, like to like lose altitude for the parachute. But the ever since that day, I look back, I think about everything, and I realized how amazing it was, how awesome of an experience it was, how I wasted years fearing about it when it was actually one of the coolest things I've ever experienced, and I am so down to do it again. And when I was kind of laughing at it was when I made the post like announcing that I did that, a lot of people commented, and I could literally take the comments and put them into groups, 2 groups. One of them being, I respect your courage because I could never do that, and people are solid, no, I would never do that. Good for you for doing it, but I would never do that. And then there was a group that said, when we go next. So it was cool. I really enjoyed it. I totally want to do it again. I cannot stop thinking about doing it. It actually like it just makes me feel good to look back and think about the amazing time I had. And then of course, like, telling my family after I did it, most of them just rolled their eyes and thought I was crazy because I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them before I did it because obviously the nerves I was experiencing, they would experience too, so I didn't want that. So I wanted to just tell them afterwards. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, guys. I know you're scared of doing this. I truly, truly, truly want you to try it. No matter how much it costs or anything like that, no matter how scared you are, you have got to try it. It's a experience that you cannot get any other way, and you have to experience it. It's one of those things in life, life is short, and you just have to experience it. I promise you, you'll enjoy it. It'll be the coolest thing you've ever done. Skydive Tecumseh, thank you guys so much. You guys have been awesome from the beginning. And thank you so much for the amazing experience. Your staff is awesome. They keep you feeling very comfortable during the whole time. They do their best to have fun with you, to make you feel as comfortable as possible, to kind of dissipate that anxiety and fear. And it was awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I am gonna try and make this a thing. Maybe I'll post one a month or something. I'm not really sure yet, but I have a lot of things to talk about, business related, maybe life related. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want to go skydiving, let me know. And I'm actually gonna get a group together and go again sometime, hopefully soon. So thank you guys for watching.